All right. Good morning, traders. Good morning, Don. He said, good to go. Good morning, Doug. Good morning, Kyle. Good to see you all. Stephen, good morning to you. You came in through private messages. Victor, you as well. Just letting you guys know if you want to switch over. I don't mind. Good morning, Mike. Hi, Gabe. Tony Z, good to see you as always. Good morning, Peter. Good energy. Love it, you guys. The coffee is hot. Good Tuesday morning to you, Kent. So today will be an interesting day. Do we expect some more follow through? Futures said no. We'll see what happens here. Good group. Let's dive right in. Officially, good morning. Welcome to the Options Income Launchpad Tuesday opening bell. I am Scott. I'll be your host. Good morning, Renee. Good to see you. Good morning, Victor. Good to all three of you got switched over. Love it. Okay. As always, education, illustrative purposes only. Nothing intended as a recommendation to buy or sell anything. We're not brokers or advisors, so we don't give personalized investment advice. Decisions made from anything you see here or on our platform should be done at your own risk, yada, yada, yada. We'll talk about the opening futures, the news. We'll look at the economic calendar and just be thinking about our posture and what we're seeing. Do we see stability? Do we see increased deterioration? Do we see an actual pop? Yesterday we had an okay move, stronger earlier in the day, still held on to some. We'll keep an eye on the opening range, of course, as always. Think about how the day may orient around that initial action. And we'll see where that takes us. Let's dive in. Palantir, first and foremost. I mean, it's as good as we could ask as of right now. I'm going to move this just a little bit over, simply because that's probably most representative of what we're seeing now. It was up here when I first opened. I'm like, hey, okay, market's down, it's holding on. We'll keep our eye on this. SPY. Now, here is an interesting thing. Yesterday, up on PLRT, nice. Yesterday, we had an above average volume day. So it needs one of these, right? It needs one of these. Okay, now this is an interesting one. Does it get a B, a T, or an S? Is it buyers? Was it a tie? Or was it sellers yesterday? Hey, Vladimir, good to see you. Anyone want to jump at that one? It's an interesting one. That's the initial response because we see red. That's a red day. They tried to push it up here. Gabe says slight edge to buyers, but I would say a tie. Now, remember that we're pretty formulaic with this. We don't really need a formula for the volume. It's so clear it's above average, right? Average is 94. We got 134. That's 40% above. So clearly that's above average. But to get the B, the T, or the S, it's about where we closed on that day relative to where we closed. Let me get my line. Where's my lines? Where's my drawings? I need them. So it's this close to this close. And the question is, how big was it? And its requirement is 0.5%. Right? If it's less than 0.5%, then we're like, you know what? That's our threshold, 0.5%. So I take yesterday's close, which is 655.38 minus 648.57. That's the gain divided by this starting point, 648.57. And we advanced. Sorry, I just minused it. 648. What have I done? I just lost all the history. Anyways, it was about $6 on a $648 stock. That is 9.9%. That's almost 1%. We only need it to be a 5 right here. And it's a 9. Therefore, the buyers win the day. Now, here's what's hard is they ended up moving it 0.9%. So this was achieved. Would have been great if it was 1.5. That's where it was up here. It was up 1.5. When it started, it was up about 1.1 and we finished at 0.9. But all of that is where? Above the previous day's close. Okay. So, if it's going to try to figure its way out of here, it's got to start with something. And that little piece is helpful. The buyers are at least fighting. That's what we see there, right? And that's a okay starting point. Because we hadn't seen one for a little while. All right. If we see a buying day every couple of weeks, we're in for a tough road. That's part of why we look to find these and separate these days of conviction that allow us to really kind of see like, okay, today mattered. What happened? And this was an interesting little transition here. We tied, then they sold, then they buyed. Now where are we? Now we're right back inside, but at least we're inside. We're not below the close. There's the low. So we could have some battles going on in here as we work things out. And we'll try to separate what means what to us, what's significant, what's less significant. I don't know. Is it making sense? I mean, of course it's not making sense because the market's doing its thing right now, but at least we have a sense of what are we trying to do to see it. VIX today, same kind of a thing here, right? Like, this is definitely, pushed. Even though it tested up in this area, I discount that to some extent because it closed here. So right now, you can really kind of connect right through to where we are, which is very close to this old high. actually. And so if we say, oh, there was just, it yes, definitely tested in there, but it didn't hold. If we're saying it's clearly still, I think, something that we could be looking for. That if we don't bust through this and we come down off of it, then we're kind of thinking, all right, well, this held very much not near this area. We'll see. And again, what did we say that it's most likely going to be? Sensitive to the news around the war. So remember that we rallied yesterday based on a 5-day extension, which puts us somewhere at the end of this week. Are we a bit concerned of things escalating again? Yeah, absolutely. This VIX is holding on to some fear. I think we have to be very aware of that. So, what do we expect? And I'm sure that I would get a good response. You don't need to. The day traders are probably increased. The swing trades are tough, and the swing trades are tough. There's a lot more momentum between. Okay. Fear and greed. Yeah, it's tough. Oh, there you go. Got some puts that are working. Very nice. Very nice. Let's just go talk through some things that we're seeing here. Actually, let's pull up. The Fed watch has shifted significantly. Most of the months now are showing expectations for a potential hike. In fact, I'm in December of this year. I'm in December. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 more meetings. We had January, we had March. And that's the first time now that you even see a hint of a probability. It's low. It's lower still for a cut than a hike, even out in December. So yeah, we're not gonna have to pay too much attention to that. It's a minor, it's a minor week this week. There's some Fed speak. You got Michael Barr today. A couple of these, minor reports that really are not in any way drivers of the market. Same thing on Wednesday. Another Fed speak. I am curious. This guy is the most recent guy. So pro administration, pro obviously interest rate cuts, but I'm wondering if now it's more of a recognition of like, yeah, no, there's nothing that can be done. But I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see. Then on Thursday, more puts that could work well. Yes. And in fact, the move from yesterday to today, or yesterday's move into today, could be part of the setup. In fact, there's a good amount of green. So we'll see that there's things that have popped a little bit. But if what we're looking for is where's the signs of sellers having taken over and buyers making a weak attempt to push, where you're thinking, oh yeah, that thing is ready for more downside. We really have nothing of note. The jobless claims, interestingly, is staying at such a reasonable level. I normally would have expected to see, this is where it's a little bit odd. I think I've mentioned that I look at weekly jobless claims because if I ever see a time when it pops, my number's 250. When it breaks above 250, it's like, ooh, and that's pretty early, right? Some people wait for 300, but when it pops above 250 and it stays there for a few weeks, 3 weeks. So we've had a couple times where it's like 260, then the next week it was 265, and then the next week it was 240, and you're like, oh, and then the next week it was 225, and it's just kind of like a little blip, and you're like, that's. But if we're gonna lose jobs, which we did last month, right? We lost 80,000 jobs when the expectation was to gain 50,000, we lost 80,000. That's pretty significant to not have even a hint of it in the weekly jobless claims. Does that make sense? Like I'm kind of a little bit thinking out loud here, but we watch again. I watch the jobless claims because of what it gives for this sort of like early insight that, hey, not only are we not adding jobs, but there's initial new people filing um, for unemployment. That's what that is, the jobless claims, the initial unemployment claims. So when we see that tick up, we're like, oh, if we haven't added very many jobs and we have more people filing for unemployment, that's the sign that we're net negative. So I'm kind of fascinated. I'm a little bit watching it. Government shutdown, job losses, possibly so. Energy sector is the one plus side. Energy is definitely a little bit of utilities, maybe. Let's pop over there for a second. Let's go through the sectors first. It's a good question. That's the news. So we do have consumer sentiment. Nobody cares about this. It's a minor report. A couple more Fed. Nobody cares. Next week. Oh gosh, we're already at the first of them. Oh yeah, we're already back to employment data. Okay, so um Friday last time was minus 90,000, not 80, 90,000. Unemployment did tick up to 4.4. So the question is, and where's private payrolls? Um huh. Normally we would have ADP private payrolls. Am I not seeing it? Sales, Fed, inventory, manufacturing. This is a little bit more important confidence. We'd love to see that get closer to 100. Clearly, it's stuck in that low 90s range. Yeah, there's some decent information coming out. Um, let me get a quick reload. Oil resumes on advance, that it may escalate. That lends itself to what I'm seeing in the chat about COP, XOP. Um, COP, yep, continues on. This is one of those times. Actually, this is interesting. Yesterday was an interesting one. If you were tightening your stop automatically, that could have picked you off, and then today. But you can see outside of that one little blip there, this thing is walking pretty nicely. XOP, oil and gas, same thing. Um, I bet there's a lot of people who actually closed yesterday for this, where they're like, oh, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, and then today it's back up a little bit. PBR, Petro Brazil always has a special place in my heart because of their ticker. PBR reminds me of college. Anyone else? Be honest. You were poor too. I'm not seeing anybody admit to their PBR days. Come on. Professional bull riser. Okay. I'm 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 thinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, but Pabst. I'm pretty sure that was the only 18 pack you could get under $10. This is back in the 90s, obviously. Okay. Pouring good. I mean, look, I also had my time with Natty Light, PBR Natty Light, of course. That's the old stool. Okay, Mike. Okay. All right, PBR. Yeah, no, there's definitely still bullishness in the oil. Let's go look at the sectors for a second in a couple of different ways. Let me actually go here first. Let's go to the heat map. This thing should be on, right? Is this thing on? Um, technology's red today. Yeah. Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, and Nvidia are pretty flat, but for the most part, you can see where's the green energy. Somebody mentioned, I saw in the chat, I haven't had a chance to get to, let me scroll up for a second. Someone mentioned Tesla. Peter mentioned Tesla. New regs up in Europe building. You can see a little green in Tesla, a little bit in telecom. Okay. And let's go take a quick peek. Here's basic materials. Well, there's doesn't not much in basic materials right now, more than anything else. Here's communication services. Obviously, energy, the best of them all, clearly. I want you to notice that it got overextended here, and then it just continues to be overbought means what? More buyers than sellers. Sometimes people get in their minds when something's overbought, it's going to drop. And it's like, no, no, not necessarily so. Eventually, yes, right? Eventually, we think, oh, it'll, maybe do one of these where it pulls back and then gives us another opportunity potentially, depending on how things go from here. Financials. Now, interestingly, financials is one where I'm like, I've seen a glimmer. And you can kind of see that glimmer showing up here where it's not on this same steady drop. It's all of a sudden like, oh, all right. What am I looking for? I don't need much. Just one pop up out of there. And on the next pullback. So if we see something like that, that's certainly going to be helpful. Industrials is down. Technology, I mean, actually, technology again, it's still kind of holding even now. There's actually been, it's almost like a descending triangle, which is by default more of a continuation pattern. So what it has been doing, if it's descending, it tends to be a break this way, but it hasn't broken this way. And certainly this makes it easier for us to figure out like what does it need to do to kind of give us that same sense of okay, we're starting to see a different pattern of money flow from an institutional standpoint. Staples. One thing that I'm noticing, and I'd like to hear you guys weigh in, is that there's not this sense of defensiveness in the way there's a sense of like oil, obviously, conflict in the Middle East. That's certainly a, a logical thought process in that regard. But what we're not seeing, at least not here, we'll maybe see it a little more on the next one, is where we're seeing like, oh, there's clearly money leaving these areas and flowing here. It's more of a broad-based sell-off, consolidation. Now, our sector rotation is not positioned very well right now, but we're not seeing that increased. We're seeing, hey, this could easily shift. Let's look at utilities. Utilities is, I don't know, really took a pretty big hit in the last week. There's healthcare. That's one that had been stronger. There's healthcare. And lastly, consumer discretionary. So I'd say pretty broad overall in the way that it's moving. Okay, so what are we looking for? If I'm bullish, I'm looking for things that are trying to bounce. If I'm bearish, I'm looking for things that had just gone up a little bit and are starting to stall, thinking they're going to start to roll over. Right? That's hasn't happened here yet, or here yet. In fact, this is Archer Daniels. This is actually one that I would say has more of a bullish look to it, right? That we held this support level. The trend is clearly upwards. It seems to be turning and bouncing. Let's pause here for a second. Let's pause here for a second and get a sense of whoops. Now, here's the hard part. I would love to say, look, just take that drawing and you can just like stick it. Whoops, what the hell is going on? Damn drawing tools. I don't get to do this. It's got to be this, right? Now I'm okay if you skip a little bit of shadow. This does give me a higher high, puts me right around 75. That's only $5.60 from where it is now. If I got in and put my stop down here, I'm taking $4. 4 to make 5. And I'm like, wait, I can't do that. I could try a stop below these Heiken Ashi bodies. Now that puts me closer to here. Boop, boop, boop. 66.76. Now I'm more like $2.75 to make 550. 2-1. I've got a 2-1 with a 75 target and a stop underneath these. And then tomorrow, I could maybe move my stop here and then try to move it up as this thing. And that's it. That's what I would be looking for. 2-1. It's more of a continuation trade. Archer Daniels is certainly a more defensively oriented stock. Does that make sense? That's what I'm looking for if I'm bullish, though you can see you're going to have a hard time finding, big reward to risk ratios right now. Speaking of good options, I see Doug's comment about PBR has good options. Let's take a look at these Archer Daniels options. April would probably be enough. It doesn't have weeklies, only monthlies, but the monthlies do have thousands of contracts. But the spreads are they're okay. I mean, I could look at like a 70 72.50 30 cents, but now they're 30 cents. I don't know. I don't love them. In a less volatile market, those spreads would absolutely be tighter. Remember that it's not just that market makers price more implied volatility into um, the options as far as like from a time value component. What does that mean? It means that what you maybe used to pay, if you pay $2 for an option and 50 cents goes to time, now it might be $3 and $1.50 goes to time. So that time component is swelling. But more than that, where it might have been $2 by 2.10, it's a 10-cent spread. Now it's $3 by 3.30, and it's a 30-cent spread. So the same option. So an option like that's $2 out of the money with 30 days. When you just, if all you did was look at one with a volatility at one point and one with a volatility at another, that's what could happen. A $2 option with 50 cents of time decay becomes a $3 option with the $1.50. Now it's half or worse. And what you're paying to get in and out started as a 10-cent bid ask spread is now a 30-cent bid ask spread. So the conditions that we're seeing are a little bit more necessary to be careful for multiple reasons. Any day traders, have you noticed any stocks that have become prohibitive because you're like, I'm fighting overcoming the spread too much on these, on a short-term trade? If you're only going to be in the trade for 30 minutes, you don't want the first 10 minutes of the move to just be like, okay, now I've overcome my spread. Now I can start making money. And you're thinking, God, this thing, right? Kyle's like, yes, clearly, yes. Okay. Archer Daniels. I do think there's, I mean, a 2-to-1 for a continuation trade on a stable stock. That's actually a pretty reasonable contention. As I look at this, it's moving. It's actually maybe moving a little bit too much. I'd want to catch it around 69.5, but it's a little early for me. Applied Materials keeps on keeping on. I think I can. AMKR, bullish day today. Let's get rid of those old red lines that are not helpful. Amazon. I'm going to look real quickly before we move on at the May options. Yeah, they're not great either. Okay. Never mind. XP is down. Baba is down. Bank of America. The little sneaky, a little sneaky pattern going on here where it's like boom, and then it drops down, and let's see what this thing can do out here. Maybe Bank of America, uh, Morgan Stanley, Goldman. There was like one other where we're like, hey, these financial leaders are looking a little better. Stephen D, you're a BAC guy. Are you seeing what you want to see for this thing to try to pull itself up by its bootstraps? I don't know. Maybe. BCS still down. Budweiser's nope. City. Oh, City even more so. I forgot City. I was looking at my watch list like there was another one. Which was it? There it is. There it is. Nice little pattern popped up. Yeah. There's some interesting development. Tesla's moving up today. Nice. Caterpillar, stable. CF. Fertilizer, in fact. And if you consider this to be, I mean, I know it's moving around and then it dropped down, but if this is your consolidation, that's your turn. Guess what? Heikin-Ashi. It's not a big candle, but it is a white candle. And you'll notice that I could be thinking like, stop loss. That's about 8 points. 8 points. Can I get 16? That's here. And I think there's possibly something developing. I mean, it's a fast mover right now. Okay. That was on our short list this week. Our opportunity list. Not short meaning more bearish. Coherent. Still trying to move on that same little pattern that it was on. Cisco, we're starting to see little perks of, like, hey, Delta, Dow Chemical. It's the buyers have had opportunities and they haven't pushed it down. This could be another thing where we're thinking the next one of these. And this last move went 37.74. I mean, that was 7.5 points. That would put us up around 43. Not quite, but I would be okay. I'm starting to think Dow is setting up. That was also on our lists. You'll remember. Ford, no. GE, no. Gold, no. GM, no. Actually, GM's kind of trying. Google, still flat. Goldman, oh. And there it is, right? There's that consolidation down. And there's this little sneaky, like, hey, all of a sudden we have these buyers. If it pulls back down and then just sort of like sits on top of this 200-day moving average, which is going to keep moving across, I think financials are going through a thing. I'm paying close attention. Home Depot down. This was asked for, and they're probably like, why did Scott ignore me? I didn't. I filed it away for alphabetical purview. Hims was asked for. Okay. I actually think Hims is showing potential. It broke out of this sort of downward pattern that it was in. Buyers pushed it up to here. There's the buyers. There's the gap. And you can see what have the sellers done. They've pushed it back down to the gap, but they haven't even started to fill this gap at all. There's no, right? They're close, but look at the sellers. Does that look like they're about to smash this thing down and fill the gap, or does it look like an opportunity is developing? It's oversold down here. An opportunity is developing that if this thing were to get like just a hint of buyers, boom, then you're thinking, hey, I could get, I'd be looking for, this was around 1550 to 2650. That's 11 points. That would take us from 2170 to 3270. Oh yeah, look at that. And you kind of are right in this old area. I mean, it's not like you're having to cut through a bunch of different levels of price action. I don't know. I think there's potential setup there. I don't know. Give me your thoughts. It certainly had a big. I mean, there's had to have been some news. They cured baldness. I don't know. uh, okay. Where was I? Obviously in the H's. HL, no. IBM, Intel. I actually thought looked interesting. Only the options are really quite questionable. I'm going to look at them right now. Actually, right now they look pretty good. What was I thinking? I would still be open to these actually. If this stabilizes and turns, the Aprils look great. I'm seeing only like 4-cent spreads, some of them. No, I'm good with those. I just think it looked like it was going to try to turn here. Obviously, got beaten back down, but it's still above this low here. I don't know. It is quite sideways. Um, it is quite sideways overall. Had a big move, and then it's just been kind of grinding along. Yeah, I'd probably wait to see a at this point. I would wait to see a more concerted buying effort where I got at least, that wasn't enough. Give me 4 or 5 days, something where it pops up. Then on the pullback, yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. I saw those tight spreads, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'd be willing to see how you can find yourself lulled into things. Don't let it happen. Let's go take a quick peek before we finish our list at today's action and range. So we gapped down, but the buyers immediately came in and immediately came back down. Boom, boom. Pretty tight range, actually. Pretty easy to define. And you can see we did break the upside. Now, as we pull back, yeah, on this pullback here, even if it gets back into the range, when this, whatever this is, turns, and we'll keep an eye on it over the next 15 minutes. As long as it doesn't go all the way back down, I would love to see it not go lower than the halfway point. That's the sound of a dotted line if you weren't sure. As long as it doesn't go, if it doesn't close below or too much below that, I don't want it to go all the way back to the bottom. Right. And ideally it hits the halfway or more. Bullish entries. Yeah. Who's with me? Who's with me? All right. You guys started so chatty and then it got quiet. Everyone's trading. I get it. You're all over like firing trades, managing trades. Let me erase this. Where were we? Intel. IWM. How are the small caps holding up today? They're okay. There's Lumentum back up again. Lamb Research continuing to try. MasterCard, no. Meta, no. I think I'm too far. No, that's 6 months. Monster. Okay, see what I mean? It looks a little different, right? When you look at Morgan, when you look at City, you're like, these things, no, that's too high. These have just all of a sudden, it's not super. All of a sudden, they did this. You've got some volume in here. And now as it pulls back, I'm thinking, even if it drops, into this range a little bit, that's all I need to see for like oh, hey, that's showing some signs of financial hope. Come on, financials. Microsoft. Nope. Micron. Micron, I think, is setting up for a new trade. There's been a couple of good opportunities. We took one as a group over here, and it just sort of did its thing. And you had plenty of time to manage it and take some profit on it. It didn't get to its target, but it did well. Then after the pullback, another opportunity. We did not do it as a group, but it was a great trade. I took that one as well. And now as it pulls back here and sits on top, I'm thinking, hey, this thing is very quickly looking like maybe another setup. So I'm definitely looking for Micron. Post earnings, the volatility has come down quite a lot. The last time I did the trade as a spread when we did it as a group over here. We did the spread trade because the volatility was so high. Now the volatility has come down. It's like, now maybe we would have the ability to do that as a buyer. Was that on the list this week? Oh, I added it late. I didn't have it Sunday, but I added it late. I was like, yeah, that one's nice. Netflix. Any thoughts on Micron? Um, agreed. Bob is, of course, I'm good. I'm good with multitasking, especially if it's trading multitasking. Settled a lawsuit with Novo. I'm like, it's a no for Don. Don's like, no. Well, I mean, it's a no for me now. I mean, I'm not like ready to pull the trigger. I'm saying I like its trend. I'm also two winners in a row. And you guys know I'm always looking for the turkey. The turkey on it's not the turkey is not just three winners in a row. It's three winners on the same stock in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Turkey. Yeah, I made it up. That's mine. It looks better than Netflix. Amen to that. Nvidia. Oh, Palantir. What is going on, Palantir? Don't do this. It's volatile right now. I'm not liking it. Especially when it started the day so good, where I'm like, market's down, and then Palantir was up, and I was like, okay. And then it's turned into this little bitty. Um, remember, we've already pushed our line once. So I'm gonna need this thing to recover a pretty good chunk. Otherwise, I'm getting itchy trigger finger here. Talk to me if you're in Palantir. What your thoughts are as you see these sellers come in abruptly. Sons of guns. Stopped out days ago. Oh, okay. Fair. That was fair. We talked about the fact that, it could have been there. Rocket Lab. Psh, nothing there. Ross Stores. Eh. RTX. RTX was looking like it, oh, just stopped out. Okay. I mean, honestly, on the second push, that's fair as well. Yeah. Okay. Silver is down. Sandisk. Sandisk made a nice bullish move. These things just keep going. Now what? Hey, I think we have something building over here. So Sandisk is on our list, is setting up. STX, same thing. Up, down, looking for something. SYY. So SYY for me is maybe there's one, two, three. Oh, this is what I'm looking for. This is if you want to join tonight, we're having a party. It's 8:30 p.m. It's not a long party, 45, maybe 50 minutes because I go over, obviously. At this party, we're going to do a bearish watch list. We're going to scan a couple of different ways, set some things up, get it ready, have that. And so something like this is actually one that I'd be like, you know what? I would, it hasn't broken the 200 yet, which is actually, you're going to find, we're going to run a search that looks for stocks that have broken below the 50, but not yet below the 200, because this is kind of a sweet spot where we can catch things where there's more room to fall. The other search we'll run is going to find things that have been downtrending for a while. And sometimes you start thinking, oh, I don't know, this thing could start looking like a value play down here. We'll have to watch the recording. That's all right. We'll say hello still. Renee. It'll be good. I'll make sure to post it quickly. So it's available. It should be a good one. Then we'll start talking about that bear list. I mean, look, we're a minus 1.5. The Oracle's a minus 1.75. This thing clearly has shown enough deterioration that we're ready for it if it continues. Again, we kind of ended yesterday on this note. The last couple of like truly bear markets, like I mean, if you look at like 2001, 2002, 2008, obviously with the pandemic, 2020, you know, it's those hit like 50% drops. The NASDAQ dropped 80% back in 2000, 2001, 2002. I don't think anything's going to touch that again for a while, but if it gets ugly, you know, it could be protracted downward movement. We want to be ready for that. SYY. Okay, TJX. It's trying a little bit, but horrible spreads. So Tesla. Okay, I actually would tell you right now that to me Tesla looks more downside oriented. Now, if you're day trading it, it's upside oriented because you're trading the intraday momentum, and it's a very different picture that you're looking at. You're saying, "Oh, look, it came down, turned. There's a trade. I can get in. Maybe you took it already. Maybe it's still testing towards 386 and you want that. I don't know. But if I'm thinking about this from a broader perspective, I'm thinking to myself, if these buyers try to push this thing up and they can't get it back above this 50, 200-day moving average, I think there's a good chance we could see it fall to where? Well, let's go back a year. And you can see very easily from here, this could be, the next big level down could be down here at 300. There's quite a little wave of action between about 300 and about 350. If that's the way we're going. Taiwan Semiconductor, Vale, Vic. The VIX is up a little bit. Okay, let's go look one more time at the range. And yeah, looks good. Looks like it's we said this pullback and now it's buying out of it. I'd say we're looking for a bullish swing here this morning. So best of luck to everyone in any further day trading ventures. I have to run. It's good to see you all. I will be back for the party tonight at 8:30 p.m. Sometimes people have a watch party. This is a search party. It's a different kind of party. A search party. Uh Thanks guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tonight. As always, happy trading.